Hey there you lot, thanks for clicking. Sunday night is upon us once again. I worked an extra shift this week at the hospital. It was a big long week in many ways, but certainly some stuff's happened. I've got plenty to talk to you all about on the other side. See you soon. I'm going to kick off today with this tank. This was, I pulled this down on Monday last. This is my breeding tank of Otopharynx tetrastigma, and I've also got 10 rusties in here. We've got about 35 tetrastigma. It's too big a colony. I just haven't got around to kind of breaking it down and maybe selling a few, given the quiet year I've had with sales. I need to put some pressure onto a few stores maybe to start taking some. Anyhow, it turned into a bit of an epic. I reckon 12 or 13 of these female tetrastigmas were holding, and they produce a good mouthful of fry each time, or in some cases eggs. And the worst thing about them is that they invariably spit in the net, and when you get a couple of fish involved where one's got fry and one's got eggs, it ends up in a bit of a mess, as we can see here with this B-roll. I hate to think how many fry we pulled in the end. I'd say with a successful tumbling, and so far this week that's gone pretty well. There could be 400 or 500 fish involved here. There was kind of a crazy output, and I won't need to breed any of them anymore anytime soon. It was crazy, so I hope there's some wholesalers that will help me out, and if not, I might have to think of some projects to condition other breeders with some live fry, I guess. Just an out of the box result to get that many holding in one go. And on that, we'll have a quick look where they've ended up. So this tank down here is my designated tetrastigma tank. The tumbler here, I've just decanted probably another 80 babies out of there that had developed since they went into this tumbler, and there could still be 150 or 200 eggs there that are certainly showing great colour, and as long as I keep that tumbler in good shape, I think we're going to pull quite a few more. And in and around that are a decent mob of the free swimming tetrastigma, some of which I've literally just let out in the last hour and a half. As mentioned, I had some in the tumbler that needed to come out. Crazy result. Just haven't had one like that for a long time, so whether it's responsible breeding to breed so many, we'll find that out another day. I've let out some red Reuben peacocks in this tank up here, and possibly a few little ACI that we pulled the other day, so that's another peacock variant that's coming along for me. Up here I've got Rwandas that are looking good. I need to move them out soon. There's males starting to collar now. I really need to contact Dan in Sydney to see if he's still interested. Hello Dan, if you're watching. We dumped out a few of the electric yellows that I've been pulling recently into a tank here with some Benga peacocks. I think there's about 50 Bengas in there and maybe 60 or 70 yellows all up. Some nice bread and butter fish coming along. This was a nice outcome this week. So up here in our little DIY box, I've got a mouthful of this is the Koningseimer Benji peacock, or the Blue Regal as it's called in the trade, and they are pretty bloody sexy if you ask me. for a peacock, one of my favourites out of the lines that I have. So that's pleasing to finally produce some of them, and I think these will sort of kick in now. Looks like we've got a good number of females in this group. I've got about, I think, 18 or 19 fish involved, and frankly they weren't even meant to breed in this tank. This is a holding or a grow out tank. I need to get that boy out into a bigger tank where he can really feel good about himself, and hopefully we can fill up a tank with them like we did with those Tetrastigma. I've just finished pulling down a tank of tomato hap. I think we've already spoken about them previously, but we've got a decent little number of fry eggs to tumble here. I think that was 2 mouthfuls combined there, so there could be 60 odd eggs in that tumbler. Around the back here, our boxes. I got another batch of bristlenose out. I've been using the bristlenose into my fry boxes, so that was nice to get a top up on those. They're just commons, but you can't have too many bristlenose. This was tomato haps that were free swimmers, so I think we looked at probably 70 odd in there. This one's probably the highlight of the week. I might try and get this out onto the table so we can have a better look. These, I don't know whether any of you watched my video I put up a few weeks ago, one of the shorts where we had the black Katana Victorian cichlid spawning. I suspect this is the female that was involved in that video, but that was about 3 weeks ago. So we've stripped her out today, and whilst it's not hundreds, I wish it was a couple more, but I think I've got 15 or 20 in this tub, so that's fantastic. It's a passion of mine, the Victorian cichlids. I think they're incredibly underestimated and neglected in Australia, and it can be that they can be a bit easy to breed with, as we've just seen with the tomatoes. But the black Katanas are certainly a good looking fish, and I'm glad to be working on those to try and keep them running in Australia. This I've got some B-roll of this, which I let out a couple of hours ago into this tub. That's our crap ton of Electra and Hongi that we stripped last week, so they're buzzing around in there. They certainly like to swim in that circle when you first let them out of the tumbler. That's been a great success. We've obviously got a lot of fish there too. The colony's looking well, happy and content. I did manage to pick up a new fish this week, which was a bit of a surprise to see on a wholesale list out of the blue. These little Malawi trouts, Champsochromis caeruleus or carolus, so many variations on that word. So I think I've got 20 odd little trout in here, which are just, this won't be their endpoint tank obviously, but I think they're going to cruise around in here and go out for me until I get to the next part of the journey when they are too big to be in a 4x18 as they are now. We managed to move, don't like the camera setup, managed to move the blue orchid peacocks over to this more peaceful tank. So what we're looking at in here now is some white calvus, 4 white calvus. I've got some Reganochromis in here, there's 4 or 5 of those. There's a few little Lamprologus Omatopinus shell dwellers, and we've now got 6 blue orchid peacocks. I think it's 2 boys and 4 girls, and I This might be the last one on my list that I need to spawn now. I think I've got at least some fry growing out from all other variants that I'm working with. Here's our poor old female from Ville that's missing, or got a bad eye on one side, but she's certainly capable of finding food when it's on, and I'm just waiting for the male blue orchid to get big enough to feel like he can take her on, I guess. Also did some, well, this is where those fish came from, so this tank got a clean a couple of days ago, and this is now going to house our pretty wicked looking Eureka Reds. Got a really spectacular boy here that's made me learn something this week. I'd never realised that the Eureka Red isn't found in the lake, but having said that, it's not a hybrid. The Eureka Red is a line breed of the Jacob Freebergi from the Otter Point location, and when I look at this particular male, if I put that picture beside an Otter Point, I think it wouldn't be a stretch to sort of pick where it came from. So that's quite an interesting thing that I've learnt, which just goes to show that you can be 20 years in the trade and still need to always be researching and reading. Here's our the aftermath of our tomato hut tank pull down. Much like last time, I didn't get any Mapangas this time, and I didn't get any result on the Barracuda this time either, but that's okay, we'll get them another day. And this is probably the last one I'll yak about before I leave off to go and watch some footy. This is the tank that contains the black katanas, that Victorian cichlid, the much different body shape to the majority of them, and we've set up some new fish into this tank. The little pale blue guys, which are Labidochromis chismulae, the Mabweka Island collection point. So they're really cool. Thank God I've still got, I think, 16 of these that survived my problems earlier in the year, and they can't be too far now from producing for me, and hopefully the same can be said for the Lethrinops mabazi rainbows, which are in here. That's another one I've been growing back from the brink, and got 16 or 17 of those in here, so hopefully we can get a result with them. And this is the priority job for the next day or two. My terribly ordinary looking Frontosa tank. It was a job that I was going to get at a week or so ago, but I believe that there's at least one female in this pile of pipes here that's now holding, and I just wanted to give that hopefully a week before I even think about stripping. And of course that algae grows real fast once you're getting towards that next water change. So don't look much at the minute, but next week it'll be great. Alrighty, I think that will do. I'm going to go and barrack for, I'm not even sure today, probably the bulldogs, and I'll see you next week with another update. Thanks for now, bye.